Hello, I'm Philip Bluestein, and thank you for joining us for our kickoff Facebook Live series, Business Insights Anyone Can Use. Again, I'm Philip Bluestein with the Bluestein Law Firm. I'm here with Kevin Kays, owner and CEO of the Alternative Board, and today we're going to be discussing personal vision and goal setting. So why don't we start with an introduction here of my colleague Kevin. And Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you having me for your inaugural session.
Our pleasure.
I am the owner and CEO of the Alternative Board Denver North. I work in the Northwest Metro Denver area and up and down the Front Range of Colorado. What I do is work with entrepreneurs to help them with their personal goals, their company goals. I've been involved with the Alternative Board for almost 6 years now. TAB as a whole has been around for over 30. And we've helped thousands of business owners over the years identify and achieve their goals.
Great. So today we were going to talk about personal vision and goal setting. So can you tell us a little bit about what that means, what that is?
Certainly. Personal vision is really the foundation of everything that I do with a business owner. It's the most important thing, really, both the foundation and I would say the capstone of why you run a business, why you own and operate a business. And it's the first step that I take with a business owner, which is to help them identify their personal goals. Many of them have given it some general thought, but surprisingly few of them have actually set it down on paper as to what they want to do.
So why is it important to be setting, have a personal vision and some goal setting? I know that sounds very, that sounds very simplistic of a question, but I think people don't always really see the value of it.
Oh, I agree. I frequently find when I'm talking to a business owner, tell me about your personal goals, and they have trouble articulating it. They may have given it some thought, but they've really not taken the time to sit down and figure out what they want, what they need, comparing the two. And it's very much a challenge for a lot of them. Yet, you wouldn't start out on a journey without really knowing where you wanted to go. I equate this to many times people will spend more time and effort planning their vacation than they do what they want to do with their life and their business. And in using that analogy, would you even consider jumping in the car on Monday and you've got a week off for vacation and turning to your wife, your husband, partner, significant other and saying, okay, now what? Many people approach their life plan the same way.
Right. So what are some things that a business owner or a business leader should consider when they're setting their personal vision and doing their goal setting?
Well, initially, I would say make sure, particularly if you are married or have a life partner, make sure to involve them in the process. Because the last thing you want is to sell your business and retire, and you want nothing more than to sit in a cabin on a lake and enjoy the view when your spouse or significant other wants to jump in an RV and tour the country. You don't want to be in that situation. But really, start taking a look at a sequence of things that we look at. What in your business gives you the most pleasure? What are you really good at doing? What do you like to do? And then how much time do you want to spend working in your business versus how much time you want to spend with your family, with your friends? Remember, if you have children, they're only young once and you don't get that time back. Take a look at what your material wants are and what your needs are. Is it necessary to have, and work in conjunction, I'd say, with a financial planner and an estate planner to determine what your lifestyle is, what you want your lifestyle to be, and what it's going to take to support that at the time that you choose to quit working.
Sure.
So those are some key steps to take early in the process. But as part of that, also take a look at some of your values, some of your psychic rewards, the non-material rewards. What are things that you like to do? Maybe you want to be involved in charity. Maybe you want to go work overseas for building housing for folks that need it, building schools. It really comes down to what it is that you really not only want out of life, but need to have to do it.
So I imagine that that what you're helping people with is kind of obviously helping them plan for their business, but using that as a tool
Exactly.
to have the kind of life that they want to have.
Exactly, because once we've determined what your personal goals are, we turn that, in my case and in yours, to let's develop a plan for the business that supports what it is that you want to achieve personally. And by doing that, it's the understanding that ultimately you need to be working on your business, not in your business. You need to develop the concept of leverage so that the business can work without you. What I frequently see, for example, when people want to sell a business, is if the business is too dependent on them, the value of the business is not necessarily what you need it to be. So one of those goals, for example, is working to establish a business and bringing in people to help you run the business so that it can go on without you. That's a key part of putting together not only a plan in your business, but implementing a plan that will support your personal vision.
So just to kind of circle back, so tell us a little bit about the process of in the business and kind of how do you go through the process, or how would you recommend people go through the process if they're working with you, if they're working with another advisor or whatever?
Certainly. The first step is to sit down and really identify what's important to you, what it is you need, what it is that makes you happy, what is it you're good at. And while you're doing that, look at it in terms of your business. What is it that you do or can do within your business that will have the most impact on it? I'll get cases of people who have a business who started it because, well, I had an opportunity and I'm really good at writing software, but I'm not very good at managing people or running a business, and all of a sudden I've got a multi-million-dollar business. What do I do? So part of this is helping them determine not only what's important to them, but developing a plan for the business so that they can operate it more effectively. Because what I encourage people to do is when you're making a decision, particularly with the business, whether it's a strategic decision, a tactical decision, or a direction to go, is that you look at every decision on the business through the lens of your personal vision. Does this particular action or decision that I'm making support my personal goals? Does it get me where I want to go?
Great. You talked about, well, you just mentioned some things that are important previously for selling a business or whatever, and how this feeds in. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Certainly. One of the steps I go through when I start working with a business owner is what their exit plan is, what their retirement plan is. And quite frequently I find, whether it's a business owner that's in their 20s, 30s, or even 50s and 60s, is they may not have given a lot of thought to what the exit plan is. And that's really key towards determining how your business is going to support your personal goals, your personal vision. I touched on earlier the fact that if you're heavily involved in your business, that's a key factor in whether you are able to sell the business. But part of the personal goal setting process is it helps determine whether or not you actually want to retire from the business, whether you want to stay active in the business but in a reduced role, or whether you want to go out in the saddle. But even if that's the case, where you want to work until you're not capable of working anymore, it is important that you have a plan in place, because by that time you will likely have a business that has other people dependent on you, not only as clients, but as employees and staff.
Sure. Well, taking all this into consideration, I'm sure we could go on for quite a long time discussing this, but we know people only have a little bit of time in a day, and we thank people for coming to watch this. But what would you say is the most important takeaway from our discussion today in respect to personal vision and goal setting?
I'd say the most important thing for personal vision and personal goals is to have a personal plan in place and implement it.
Great. Well, I'm Philip Bluestein with the Bluestein Law Firm. I want to thank you for joining us for our Facebook Live series, the inaugural one, of Business Insights Anyone Can Use. Just as a reminder, we at the Bluestein Law Firm, we focus on helping healthcare professionals build and protect their careers and practices. And we're here with Kevin Kays with the Alternative Board, also known as TAB. I guess people refer to it quite frequently as that. We thank you for joining us, and if you have any additional questions for either me or Kevin, please feel free to contact us. I'll be happy to put you in touch with Kevin, or we're certainly here to help implement and work with those kinds of plans. Thank you very much.